era is the Terence Crawford era.
Tyrann got the best matchmakers. You ain't fought nobody, man. We gonna roll him up and smoke him. It's gonna be a one-sided ass whooping.
I know I can beat him. I feel I can beat him. I see myself beating him.
You ever fought a champion that was two-way divisions, right?
All the titles I took from the champion. So what you saying?
I like to go fishing. Everybody know.
Man, that's cat. He not catching me with no fishing pole,
hey, listen.
man. What it look like catching Moby Dick with a fishing pole, man?
I got a big enough hook for him. I'm already reeling him in. I'm gonna put him on the bank, gut him, and I'm gonna fillet him.
We Jamaican, man. We smoke bud. So we gonna smoke your ass up.
It's that marinated bud that hit one puff, you might be seeing stars like how high.
He gonna go and stop that nonsense.
If he get out of line, I swear to God, he gonna be the number 11.
I've been getting out of line my whole life. He ain't catching me with no damn fishing pole. I'm flipping his whole boat. I'm sinking him.
Fish fillet.
Smoking on bud.
Fish fillet.
Trying to really put a hurting on him.
Somebody gonna break, and it ain't gonna be me.
So it's finally that time, you guys. It's finally that time. Errol Spence Jr., Terence Bud Crawford. And after the final press conference, I think a lot of boxing fans seen everything they need to see. Of course, we have the weigh-ins later on today, but this is going to be my last monologue-style video until after the fight. Everything else is going to be live streams because we got a watch party. We're going to have the fans' perspective epilogue, and we're going to have the weigh-in live stream later on this evening to get our final thoughts, everybody's final thoughts before we go into this fight. But I noticed a lot of different things at the press conference, and the things that stood out to me the most was the demeanors of the fighters and trainers. And I seen where Derrick James seemed to be very agitated. He seemed to be very agitated. Saying things that really didn't have nothing to do with the fight. I think they on. I get that vibe that they are in somewhat of a panic mode. Terence Bud Crawford it seemed like he was on demon time, right? He tried to calm down the crowd and say, when we get together, it's got to be like this, and they still was acting a fool. So Bud Crawford said, all right, we go play that game. Some may say that Terence Crawford showed a lot of emotion. Some may say this is what Errol Spence wants for Crawford to be emotional going into this fight. But we've seen this before with Terence Crawford going into these fights. I don't think him getting riled up is going to be something that's going to really throw him off in the fight. We've seen it with Hank Lundy, right? Prior to the Hank Lundy fight, we've seen it with Jose Benavidez, right? So I don't think that's going to play a factor. But it is something that Errol Spence could use to gain an advantage in the fight. However, like I said before, it's a 50-50 situation still. But Errol Spence, people saying things about the turnaround at the face-off. Errol Spence always kind of turns away first, right? Errol Spence always turns away first. So we must take note of that. We must acknowledge that, right? And he also came out and said that he don't want to be looking at no dude's eyes for no hours, right? So, but Terence Bud Crawford showed that he was serious business. He showed that he was 110%, and he was telling everybody it's going to be the Terence Crawford era. Terence Bud Crawford even won the coin toss. Terence Bud Crawford got everything he wanted in negotiations. Terence Bud Crawford essentially bullied his way in negotiations. He's likely going to be bullying Errol Spence in the ring this come Saturday night. And I've been vocal about who I got winning this fight. Terence Bud Crawford. I think Errol Spence has a lot of things going against him in this fight. And I think based off the live stream, the dual live stream we had last night, a lot of Spence fans didn't show up. And when the ones that did show up, they didn't necessarily stay long like they typically do. I think they seen what we all saw at that final press conference. We seen an agitated Derrick James, which is very uncharacteristically, which is not really in his character. And we've seen a very, very jovial, calm Bo McIntyre. Derrick James don't have an idea how his fighter is going to be able to beat Terence Crawford. Derrick James knows that his fighter is really having a hard time making the weight, right? He's having a hard time. He's not feeling good. Derrick James knows this, and that emotion that's pouring all out of his the energy. You can see it. They don't know how they're going to tackle the task of Terence Bud Crawford. They can only say he's just talent. They can only say he just never fought nobody. But they know when they get in the ring with this dude, it's going to be something totally different. Terence Bud Crawford said, these guys always say this and that before they get in the ring with me. But when they get in the ring with me, they see 3 of me. They see 3 of me. Terence Bud Crawford appears to be in phenomenal shape. I think at 35 years old, Terence Bud Crawford is now in his prime. His arms is almost down to his knees. Right? Errol Spence Jr., they both look like they're close on weight with each other. And Crawford appears to be the bigger guy based off the final press conference face-off. The skull and everything else looks bigger than Errol Spence's. Naturally, normally, Errol Spence is obviously and noticeably the bigger guy, but I don't know if this weight cut is going to work out too good for Errol Spence Jr. And I'm not looking at for that as an excuse. I'm saying that as a fan of Errol Spence as well. And when I was on the live stream, when we was on the live stream last night, when I was monologuing before I opened up the panel, a lot of the Errol Spence fans that was in the comment sections had no rebuttals to the things that I was dishing out. They can only hope that they can get the job done. And I gave reasons why. And nobody had any rebuttal for it because they know it's all facts. Errol Spence Jr. hasn't fought since last April. Since the Eudenis Ugas fight. Was that last April? I don't even remember. I feel like it was almost 2 years ago now. And then he's going into a fight with Terence Bud Crawford. It's getting harder and harder to make the weight. He's 33, not 23. And stylistically, it's a bad matchup. It's a bad matchup. And as you can see here on the clip on the screen,
Errol Spence was reversed a lot more than Terence Crawford was against Sean Porter, and that largely came down to the foot speed difference between the two. And particularly along the ropes, Sean Porter was able to reverse Errol Spence a lot more and then begin teeing off with his own attacks. And as you can see on the left hand side, even from clinch positions, Sean Porter's foot speed advantage over Errol Spence ultimately enabled him to take that 180-degree angle reverse on Errol Spence and beat him to the position. And as a contrast on the right hand side, Bud was able to use Porter's momentum against him and reverse him along the ropes, and sometimes tie him up, or alternatively just deny Porter that position he's looking for, using Porter's momentum against him, and ultimately Bud was able to score some counter shots in the process. And in the next example, you'll see how quick Terence Crawford is to glide his left foot around repeatedly to stop Sean Porter gaining that advantage on him as he looks to blitz. And in this example, you can see how fast Bud is to bring his foot around the leg of Sean Porter after clinching him. And away from the ropes in open range, you can also see how fast Crawford's able to maneuver his feet, and even after missing his own attempted counter shots, his foot speed compensates for that, allowing him to pivot at an angle and away from the counter shot. And in this example, like a matador, letting Porter's momentum take him through towards the turnbuckle.
Salute to this guy. Go check out his channel. We got to show support and love to the breakdown guys. Terence Bud Crawford was handling Sean Porter a lot better than Errol Spence. The foot speed difference may be a huge factor in this fight. If Terence Bud Crawford decides to play the bull matador game with Errol Spence, if that's the game that's played in this fight, Terence Bud Crawford is going to have his way with Errol Spence Jr. He's going to have his way with him. And why they say Errol Spence may be the more durable fighter, with him sucking so much out of himself going into this fight, how will his punch resistance be? This is a guy that said he had PTSD. This is a guy who has dentures teeth, right? So Errol Spence Jr. has a lot of things going up against him other than him being the bigger guy. I don't see him having no glaring advantage over Terence Bud Crawford. But he can very well prove me wrong. He can very well prove me wrong. And I have no hate in my heart for Errol Spence. I wouldn't be mad if he beat Bud Crawford or anything like that. I like Errol Spence Jr. And I'd be like, wow, salute to him for getting the job done. I didn't think he could do it, but he did it. Wow. But I don't think he's going to be able to do it, bro. Terence Bud Crawford, I think, is a special fighter. I think Terence Bud Crawford is a generational fighter. And I think this is going to be the Terence Crawford era. He's a guy who is one step away from boxing greatness. He's one fight away from becoming boxing royalty. So we're going to see 110% Terence Crawford. I believe we're going to see the best Terence Crawford we've ever seen. This is what their career for him and his team, this is what they've been waiting for all these years. Getting slandered by the media and the fans for the quote-unquote lack of quality opposition. And even when he fought some quality opposition, they still got downplayed. Why? Because he handled them a lot easier than most people handle these guys. So we're going to see if Terence Bud Crawford is going to continue his trend of dominating the opposition. No close fights, no split decisions. No close fights, no split decisions, you guys. This is a guy who may be mentioned amongst the names of Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Ray Leonard. Terence Crawford might be that guy, and people are going to have to accept this reality if he gets past Errol Spence Jr. this weekend. Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.